Divine guidance, E4 Son, Balokui Sefea Lavan, Darawan, Yufu, Bandos. Welcome back to Divine Guidance with Patricia on Transformational Talk Radio. We have a lot of things brewing in the world today, and Spirit allows things to come forward in their timing. Sometimes I really believe that my spiritual teachers don't know what time is, because I was introduced to this beautiful lady, my guest, about 2.5 years ago, and I thought, wow, I really love the energy that this lady portrays for Mother Earth and for all living beings, and I really would like to sit and have a chat with her. And our paths have crossed over the last couple of years, where we've been on a couple different platforms together and we've said hello together. But Spirit brought forward the opportunity for her to come and be a guest with us today. And I would like to introduce to you one of the most beautiful, humble, benevolent women on the planet that does so much for Mother Earth especially. Her name is Yukia. Yukia, would you like to tell our guests a little bit about yourself, please?
Welcome, everyone. It's beautiful to be here and to share this sacred space. I am basically an everlasting student of the Earth, and I love this planet. Yet I am a very multidimensional soul in this body, like everyone else, with access and remembering of that in terms of its embodiment. So it is a state of being that requires the descension into the physical structure of reality of the vessel itself, where all the highest versions of yourselves, all the highest frequencies, all the remembering of the divine spark of the soul has been collected through the years as I walked the earth for 15 years, to more than 15 years, to different countries, and actually learned about the cultures, exchanged healing practices, collected aspects of myself, worked with my inner shadows, and to release and erase the patterns, to clear the space for the collection of those versions that in different dimensional spaces, different planets, within the earth, within the elemental kingdom, which we all do. It is not selective to me. Whilst working with Mother Earth itself in sacred sites around the world. So I've been in many, many countries, and my walk basically was completed in terms of planetary soul work, with the grids of light, with the doorways and the ley lines, and exchanging the wisdom with the indigenous tribes, and collecting the parts of myself about 2 years ago, basically. And that's when I then settled, back in a fixed place. I always say a fixed place because it's not really fixed all the time, which is here in Portugal. And I am in between two countries. I spent 5 months in one, and in Peru, I spent the other part of the time.
Well, that's a lot of information. Let's just
Yes.
break a little bit of it down. When you say that 2 years ago you collected and you came to that space, it's amazing to me because there are so many different words, but yet the vibration, the truth, and the energy and the divinity of those words are all the same. So I acknowledge that. To me, and my knowing is that it's an achievement. And when you have that achievement, you've mastered that purpose that you came for, and then it turns over to a different frequency, to go out and to encompass. So, would it be clear to say that you're working with a lot of masters at this time?
The masters, it's a perspective that the way I see it, in my perspective, all the masters that have been guiding me through this process, and including masters off planet and in planet that were accompanying me in the invisible world. All those aspects and facets of those masters, they've been integrated within the self.
Yes.
Which is the unification with the self. So they hold the space. I call it my team. They hold the space within which I transmit. Right. And they have, it's like this innate guidance that is transmitted. It's no longer separate from itself, like
it's
it
part
was
of the whole. Part of the whole.
Part of the wholeness of where I am at the moment. Right. Yes.
Yeah. My slogan for the show is focusing on SOULutions for the whole being. So it's a different type of language.
Yes.
The conscious memory that we obtain when we do our inner work, when we work on not just the years that we walk on the planet now, perhaps, but the years we walked on the planet before, or even other planets before. It all comes with us. And there's certain purposes that allow most of that to come through. It's been my knowing in this lifetime upon this planet that this is a big one. This is a time when all conscious memory, all persecution can be lifted, all lack of taking that responsibility in past lifetimes can be released. It's a chapter in the living library, which I call Earth, the living library of love, divine love. It's a chapter where we can bring all of that together in this lifetime. I'm wondering why we're doing that. Any ideas?
Well, one of the reasons that this is the time. This is the divine time. I call it divine time. It's the Mother Earth is now ready for that to happen also. So Mother Earth has collected her starlight, ascended parts of the self, through the different transitions that it's taken, just like we did. So we've been mirroring the movement of the Earth, and she's now ready in terms of an ascended frequency for us to match that frequency and for us to raise the bar, so that we we absorb that elevated awareness, and we are able to actually stay in that space of high vibration, that of higher version of ourselves. So it's a special time, definitely. It's really
It's
special.
most benevolent, powerful as in heart, powerful as in truth, powerful as in divine law, divine love. All of that is it's here for us as well, because if you're doing your work where you are and I'm doing my work where I am, we don't have to be physically together anymore. When those frequencies come in, and when that new cellular light comes into the earth, it comes into all of the earth. So we all are able to tap into what we all are doing individually. Is that not right?
That is right, because we are all interconnected, and there's been so many pods and groups and soul groups, individuals, pioneers of lights, way showers, great gatekeepers, guardians, you name it, doing the work for so many years, for eons, in fact, in different
Yeah.
transitions.
Yeah.
And we've come to a completion where we are now ready to actually absorb. I use the word accrete the light, and anchor and ground it, root it within the great grandmother trees of the earth,
Oh,
in the roots of the trees of the earth,
that
and
just
in our own vessel, in our own body. So it's
we're
very, very encouraging.
sorry, we're supposed to take a break, but I'm enjoying this conversation, so I think we're going to skip the first break. And I would like to ask you, if you may, what is, everyone has special divine tools, that, you, many times your tools, you're consciously aware of them, but you're not consciously aware of what they are. And it can only make sense to somebody who, yeah, like it, but you don't know what they are and you don't know how to use them. Can I ask you, Yukia, beautiful lady, what is the most divine tool that you've been given to use and access on this inform at this time?
The most divine one is the alchemy, is the power of the alchemy of the voice, of the sound. It's sound and visionary tools, translated into light codes, So it's a combination of sound, of light codes, which are translated in these incredible drawings that are activated by sound. So the core is the sound, is the alchemy of the voice of the essence of the being, that and the gift, the tool that activates everything is as a catalyst, is the sound. Then the rest of the tools, which is the light code, digital translations of what the energy looks like, what the energy is doing in the planet, what is the energy is doing within the vessel or in somebody else's vessel, is then translated to these beautiful codes that come in, or a soul mapping, or a soul cartography of the journey of the soul, and its moments, and what it's needed for this present moment. So that's the most divine, the core of the tools that I have, because everything else, in terms of the facilitation work, the empowerment work of being a facilitator for a long time, and bringing in the teachings of off planet and within the planet, and the ones within the inner space, as you travel through your inner shadows and your inner patterns, they've all come through as a result of those activations, those sound activations, those visuals. It's like a library opens up, and it's a screen on a TV. So there's many windows. And so the sound is catalyzes the opening of the windows. And when the windows open, everything is seen. And then it cascades through the vessel, and it's translated in a digital art, or a design, let's call it, a design, an architecture. And then the information comes through. And then the healing comes through, and the practices comes through. But the catalyst is the sound alchemy, you know, that is ignited.
So the sound ignites the codes that you receive or others receive.
Yes.
And what type of sound do you use to ignite that and to activate that, if I may ask?
It comes from my voice. So it's been awakened, you know, when I was a young girl, I couldn't sing at all. I wanted to sing, but I just didn't have a voice. But when my full awakening took place in 2002, you know, the gift of the voice came in.
Wow.
And the gift of the sounds came in. And the gift of the languages came in, because there's many languages spoken, you know, which we call the light language, the language of the heart within the family unit. You know, through my grandparents and generations back, we were gifted with also the speaking in tongues. So it's not just inherent in the soul, but there's a lineage of it that came through. But it was only awakened in 2002. That's when those gifts all came in.
And how did that awakening take place for you?
It was a changeover. Which is called a change of vibration. All right. So a walk in, let's say, the soul that was occupying the vessel, all right, at the time, was ready, who had made an agreement to receive at the particular time of unlocking, all right, certain skill sets and certain gifts, all right, to relay to humanity and to fulfill as healing tools and as teachings of the wisdom and the knowledge of that innate knowingness that's in the field, in the unified field. So a higher version of the soul, you know, in fact, 2 higher versions came in through a illness. You know, there was a change in the physical body. Yeah,
I get that. It said, and I've actually physically and medically died several times, and I'm aware that each time that did take place, that in a higher version of my being, or a higher something else that needed to be shifted in my being to give out as a frequency, even if a couple of them I was not conscious of until later, but they were actually still here doing what they were meant to do. So that allowed me to have compassion for people who are absolutely present on this planet, but are not consciously aware of their gifts. They are still providing that frequency. They are still doing it, whether they're conscious or not. And there's certain times when we're meant to work out, like wake up in different aspects of our life, like 2002, and looking at your work and looking at you as a celestial being, because I'm able to see the frequencies in the soul of you. I would if I wasn't trained in the way I was, I would look and say that you have been wide open when you were born. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yes.
those judgments of higher and lower self, when people open up to their true conscious awareness and purpose, there's so many um, distractions, divisions, and diversions with the labeling of it and the expectations. Oh, you're supposed to be awake when you're 16, or you're supposed to be. It's your own personal journey with your higher being, with Creator, whoever you want to, Allah, the Christ, whatever you connect with. That's your personal journey, and it should not be derived or dictated of yes, no, that's right or wrong. Do you agree?
Yes, perfectly. Because, you are absolutely right. I was born, awakened, when I was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then I shut down, for until the age, more or less, until 27,
Mm-hmm.
due to, basically it was designed so that I could experience,
Mm-hmm.
life in
Yeah.
duality and polarity, and learn what was going on in this planet, because it's
Mm-hmm.
just the second time that the soul has been here. So the soul
Wow.
that was in the body before the other versions came in was actually the first time. It was a Palladian soul, and then the other versions came in with higher frequencies at the particular time of unlocking, which was the 2002, and that was the time that the work started, because there was no a point of no return.
Yeah.
That's what I came to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I either did that or
Mm-hmm.
my body would leave.
Yes,
That
exactly.
was as simple as that.
You
It
know,
was a death and a rebirth,
we could do
a big
a whole
one.
we could do a whole show just on this topic, couldn't we?
Yes.
I'll come have you back again because it's not very often that you have somebody so open to communicate without any labels, variations, or what I call braces of safety in spirituality, or
Yeah.
spiritual glamorization of what things are supposed to be. It's really nice to have a conversation with somebody so open.
Yeah.
It's a treat. What I might do is in the next minute, I'll ask you to tell me a little bit more about your beautiful artwork and how it triggers people. Uh, and we'll take a short break. And when we come back, maybe we can get into the artwork a little bit more. And not only with how it works with the people, but how it works with the earth and the different dimensional planes,
Yeah.
because it's all connected.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess, Olivia, if you're ready, we will take a nice short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Um, my apologies. I can speak with this lady forever and ever and ever. And we kind of got a little bit off track, but hopefully that was information that will trigger and work with you in your day. So, Yukia, I'm so excited. I'm like a kid in a candy store because there's so much I'd love to talk about. And I definitely will invite you back again. Maybe we can do this again.
Yes.
So I'm going to hand it over to you to share, as my beautiful guest, um, your work, your light codes, and how they affect people, the planet, and other dimensions. So
Yeah.
thank you.
So the light code work is, it's activated, like I said, with a sound. It's activated, so it's a catalyzing key. So there is a catalyzing key, which is the sound orchestra. Sometimes it's an angelic orchestra. So the source of the sound is angelic. Sometimes it's interplanetary, different planets, and sometimes it's within the Earth itself, from the elemental kingdom. And when that happens, what happens is that there is a current, that is exploded from your heart.
Mm,
So
good,
it's
good.
inside the heart and it explodes out. All right. And when that happens, then the energy moves into the basically down your arm, and you start drawing. Sometimes that doesn't even happen. It's a silent transmission. All right. That comes from Mother Earth, for example, or from the unicorns, or whatever it is that the transmission comes. And then the energy moves, and the light code is then drawn. It's drawn by hand, and there is different types of codes, which for different purposes, you can say. So initially, the first run of codes, when I started doing this work, were codes that were coming from the planetary soul of Gaia, and from the different planets, in order to repair, to restore, to align, and to harmonize, okay, and to heal a lot of the past, the transitions that the Earth has taken place. The different transitions that has taken place since before Lemuria, the time of Lemuria. Since, you know, polarity has been introduced, and separateness, let's call it. So within the Earth, the repair, and within the physical structure of the soul that is going through that. Right. In that case, it was through me. So the first codes were codes to repair, and it works at DNA level.
If I may interject, some of the work that my husband and I did was, we were made aware that there was a huge part of Earth's soul that was asleep, that was put to sleep actually when the grid was shut down. And so your process and our process, that's exactly how we started as well, was working with the connecting of Earth and her planetary family, and the dimension that were closed off needed to be opened, and some portals need to be moved down, and other portals need to be open. So yeah, that's amazing. That's great.
Yes.
I love it.
So that the first initial work was twofold. It was internal, you know, within the soul itself, and it was within the planetary soul of Gaia, which then gave me the direction and the guidance to travel to different parts of the world, to go and do what was required, either to open, close, preserve portals,
remove,
open stargates, mend and repair grids, waters of the oceans, and work with the mountain spirits, and work with the umbilical cord of the planet itself, to return it to balance, to return it to harmony, preserve the original blueprint of the sites that had been already manipulated, you know. So there was a need to go and preserve that original blueprint while the other one was already there. So for a time of unlocking, which is now upon us, you know, it has been upon us, you know, a few years already ago, when the unlocking took place. So this was done in an harmonic fashion with the earth, and within myself, in my own journey of clearing, you know, erasing, deleting, healing, and with those that crossed my path. Yes. And with those that crossed my path. So it was like an harmonic convergence of this. So there was an harmonic resonance that was created in the particular country, where all these people, like you know, like a magnetic generator, were attracted to the energy. That those were the ones that were part of this project.
They were brought forward to do their part.
They came forward, and everything was easy. There was no difficulties in actually doing what was required, you know.
You're lucky.
That was the first part, the first part. And of course, then the upgrades, then there was a lot of new upgrades that started coming in, which was second stage, was in the country, for example, would be the first repair and what needed to be done, and then the upgrading of a grid or a construction, a full construction and design of a new grid, to be placed for a time of unlocking, which was not that time. It was just placed in what I call the internet, which is the cloud, okay, in a multidimensional space, for the unlocking at the right time.
In preparation. So we're definitely not just talking about the physical rocks and stones of Earth. We're talking about all the etheric bodies in her totality,
Yes.
the different levels.
Different levels, yes.
And with that, so many people that probably came forward were all at different levels. Not everybody came with, I'm here for the blue spot on the red planet over on the green side. Everybody came for their own purpose and intent, their own connection, their own consciousness, their own receiving, and their own releasing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So
there were it was multifaceted. There were those that were the grounders and the holders of energy, and only that. And there were those that were rooting the energy and earthing the energy, which was mainly the indigenous tribes that worked with me very closely to actually ground the energy into the earth, and through ritual and ceremony. And there were those that, like me, had the same mission, at the same clarion call, and presented themselves there unconsciously, most of them, and some conscious also. And there were those that were off planet, so which I call the shining ones, from different planets that were part of the team that was working with me.
So we're living on this planet. We're doing work, and you know what, Yuki, if I was to be quite honest, I never know what I'm doing. I just know that I'm doing what I'm doing because I know that I need to do this, and I trust spirit enough that spirit trusts me. And that's a really nice balance to be at. It took a while, but it's there and it's good. With that, it's difficult to be on this planet for me. There are certain things that really cut against my grain. And I have to struggle with that. Not that it's impossible, but it's ever present in my soul and in my energy and in my truth of who I am. And just knowing in the peripheral that it's there and that I live in amongst it, it's unbearable some days. What if we were to ask you, what would be the pinpoint experience on this planet for you that stimulates that within your being?
So it's an unwavering trust in the divine, and within the envelope, the love envelope, the love for self, and this unwavering faith. That's what I can call it, the faith that this was the divine choice that the soul made. So this is the energy that always guided the path that I walked. It still guides me today the same way. There isn't a doubt, but there is loneliness. There is loneliness in the journey.
Yeah.
There were moments of feeling completely, the separation within myself was being healed through all the different patterns and collective shadow that was surfacing. But there was always a feeling of loneliness and isolation in the path that I took, because there were very few that were a matching frequency in that path, you know.
Yeah.
And it became overwhelming. It became overwhelming, and there was a sadness that sometimes would set in for many, many years, you know, and to find the joy all the time, it was the only way to find the joy was always through the energy of giving and
Sure.
of expressing gratitude every single day, for where I was and what I, you know, and the path that was chosen in the macro vision of for the planet and for humanity, and where and this divine trust that this was just perfect as it was, and that all the rest was just the human condition. It was the human and the ego feeling that way, you know. So being the observer, being the witness that that was taking place, and that this was dissolving itself, that it had to be dissolved, the fragmentation that was being, that was incurring within or felt within, would be observed and witnessed and dissolved within the heart through the energy of love and of divine divine, it's at the divine guidance, you know, a divine guidance that there was nothing else. This was my, that was the most important priority, you know, and that dissolved everything into source and balanced and harmonized it, returned it to equilibrium. Sometimes not quick, but it became very, the more it was practiced, the more it was experienced and expressed, the easier it became to witness very quickly that this was not in alignment with the harmonic, you know, of the energy of the one seed, you know, the one seed that volunteered to come and do this, and that with all its parts that we're concurrently working everywhere else. Yes. And that there's this wholeness, the vision of the wholeness, returning to the wholeness through the energy of the heart and the love, that and gratitude. And gratitude was a big thing for me, you know, a big ticket. I say it was the ticket to return to balance and harmony and joy.
It's an amazing energy. It's an amazing consciousness, divine grace.
Yes, divine grace.
It's an amazing way. To me, it's a warm blanket of recognition, even
Yes.
when I'm not honoring myself.
Yes.
Or loving myself enough. I call in the angels of divine grace. Please surround me and help me to be astute enough to know that even though I'm doing a tiny part, and let's face it, Yukia, things that we do, it's not like McDonald's. You don't go order a hamburger, get a hamburger, eat it, and then all of a sudden it's done. There's events that we've been a part of 20 years ago that are just coming out now. And it's not done to jump on Facebook and say, hey, I did this. Or I mean, a lot of things that are done is done in the dirt and the mud and the gravel, right? And you just and you come out of it singing and so happy, and you know, like it's
very much so. And sometimes through an energy of real, you know, big challenges in terms of how everything came together at the end, you know. But you say it very nicely, because it is the energy that kept me going was divine grace, you know, ended up with divine grace being the compass. It was unwavering. There was, you know, always returning and always being sort of involved in this mantle. You know, I felt that I was involved in the mantle of grace, you know, that no matter what,
You were.
everything was just perfect. Everything was just perfect, no matter what. Whether I had the financial means, whether I didn't have the financial means, whether I had a week only with $200, whether or no money at all, or where I I had accommodation that wasn't up to scratch, or that I was feeling sad and isolated, and divine grace came in at those moments to assist, and then everything was returned to this peace. It's a peace. Joshua, I call him Joshua because that's how I know him. Used to say, it's a peace that surpasses any understanding.
It is.
And it's an inner stillness and silence that even though everything's collapsing around you, you are still in that. You are still in that, and you are embracing that, and you are in gratitude of that.
That tiniest little spark of peace is the only thing that can bust through the stones into liberation.
Yes.
It's the only thing that can liberate your emotional body, your mental body, your physical tiredness, your physical struggle. It is the tiny spark, that blanket of divine grace, and that acceptance of the divine grace. Because, they can wrap their blankets around you, but you have to accept it. When you accept it, that grace, that still moment of where your breath collides and connects with all dimensions and all planes right back to where you first were a breath. When that comes together full circle, that's part of your wholeness. That's part of your unification. And that's part of where you can liberate out of any circumstance that you're in and break free.
You break free, and that freedom is it's a fulfillment of that grace, that freedom also.
It's for me, instead of saying it's now, it's for me, my expression when I'm in it is I'm here. I'm here. So we have about 1 minute. So before we take our last break, Yukia, it has been my honor and my pleasure, and the time has gone so fast. And
very fast.
I would like to say thank you for all the work that you do and are doing and will continue to do. Thank you from my heart and soul for being here and doing your work. Thank you, listeners, for listening in. Next week, our live show on the 17th, we'll have Matu Ra, the Raw Authentic Warrior, will be here with us. So you want to tune in for that. When we come back from our break, Yukia is going to bless us and gift us with a beautiful treat to end the show. Thank you, and we'll be right back.
So it will be now a pleasure for me to offer an activation. So just taking a deep breath, breathing in the emerald energy from Mother Earth, through your feet, to your knees, to your sacral, your womb, your heart, And bringing in the energy of Father Sky, calling in the energy of consciousness of love and support, and asking our souls to complete the receiving, to surrender, to welcome the stillness and the silence, and the emanations that are downpouring as vibrations, receiving them with ease and perfection. Letting ourselves welcome the breath of the golden violet light into the entire being. Imagining the light pouring into your cells in this deep awakening of the awareness from you, from your soul emerging with alertness, being able to hear, to see, to sense every aspect of the universe that's within you in its most pristine consciousness and innocence. Bringing in the essence of the true self. Now breathing in the energetic vibration that is coming in, which is the golden green color, which is the emerald of the earth, focusing on refreshing the truth of the Creator within and upon the earth. The truth of the Creator within yourself. So these beautiful golden green vibrations allowing you to see the truth with new eyes, with a greater recognition, with a greater reverence, understanding and knowingness, while you're bringing forth the vibrations and the consciousness of that truth for this current time on earth, not only for yourself, but for the globe, as we are in this place of where extreme polarities are converging in a chaotic mode. So bringing in this two energies now, the golden green energy of the emerald, the golden violet purification vibrations of transmutation, and enhancing your sensitivity and ability to witness the truth. To enhance that, allowing that enhancement, that realization of processing the truth of this essence that is vibrating within yourself, allowing it to come to the surface, to bring it into consciousness, enabling you to deepen yourself into the divine starlight that you are, calling upon the energy of consciousness, of love and support from the angelic realm, from your team, from all your aspects of the self, receiving these energies with ease and grace. And finally, bringing in the third vibration of this energetic that we've been gifted today, the light emanating throughout our being and pouring into the earth, the golden red, symbolizing the embodiment of that essence of truth that has surfaced, that it's been announced, that it's been witnessed within the creator of who you are. And while those two previous energies that you've received of witnessing the truth, this third vibration holds the complete embodiment, symbolizing that you are the loving witness, the observer as a creator, as well as the abundant truth of the creator itself that you embody. And both loving witness and abundant truth are akin to lessons, to initiations, to lead to the inner forgiveness for separation in the collective consciousness and within yourself, and as well as to unity that we are all navigating into. So just taking a deep breath and exhaling into that and welcoming that, all those aspects of the soul into full embodiment, into full grace, into full perfection, opening your hearts and stepping into the quantum sun of your inner truth. And as the light flows over your being, let yourself always repeat the mantra that I am the abundant truth of the universe, that I am. Connecting deeply now, contemplating in silence these three vibrations in a threefold flame of unity and unity, being the witnessed, detached, observing and perceiving, and letting it anchor into Mother Earth and in the physical structure of your vessel and your body, in expressing your gratitude for this moment in time where you share this perfect and sacred divine moment together.